Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Pride Pod. We're going to be live. Yeah, we are live right now. Thank you for your support. Tuesday, November the 4th, 8:01 p.m. Eastern. Thank you again for always watching and commenting on our stuff and to keeping in touch. We appreciate you. This today, John cannot be here with me today. Unfortunately, he had some family situation he had to take care of, but I'll be diving into several topics today. First and foremost, talking about the draw between the Orlando Pride and Seattle Reign on November 2nd. The Pride hosted Seattle Reign at Inter&Co Stadium on Decision Day in front of around 8,000 fans. It was Fan Appreciation Day, and they both needed points to solidify playoff seeding. Orlando sat 1 point above Seattle and aimed third, to get into the third place to avoid tougher quarterfinal matchups. While the Reign, was seeking to leapfrog, for home field advantage in the playoffs. It was a really tense match with a lot of things to talk about. It was a very physical game, dominated a lot by Orlando when it came to the possession, but we'll discuss all of that and more today. So make sure you drop your comments, drop us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. If you're on YouTube, if you're on X, make sure you're retweeting the live. The way you guys will be able to, give us, also drop your comments there, and then I'll be able to see it here in the system and put it live. I also wanted to talk today about how can the Pride line up against Seattle Reign this Friday, which is a do or die back-to-back playoffs for the Pride. So congratulations. The NWSL Playoffs Quarterfinal is going to be at 8 p.m. On Friday, November 7th. We're going to be there for sure to give you all the ins and outs of what happened. Back-to-back NWSL playoffs for the first time in club history. We're going to be discussing that. How's the Pride going to be lining up? What are the do's and don'ts when it comes to facing Seattle for the second time? Is the Seattle coach going to be looking at ChatGPT? We'll talk about that too. And also, let me just kind of, before we go and dive into the actual debate and the actual info that we have here for you tonight, we want to just kind of I want to give my 2 cents on this right here. And I want to give my full support to Barbara Banda, our number 9. Well, number 22, but our position is a 9. And I'm going to read what the club said. Barbara Banda is a superb teammate, player, and role model, and we're proud that she represents the Orlando Pride, our fans, and our community, both in Orlando and on the national stage. Barbara continues to shine, including most recently being named to her second consecutive FIFPro Best World 11, an award exclusively selected by her fellow peers across the globe. We look forward to continuing to celebrate Barbara and her future accolades and to supporting her journey as one of the many incredible athletes in our league. So we love Barbara Banda. Something on a personal note, I think she's the best striker the city has. And I'm talking city and Pride. She's the best striker we got here in Central Florida. And we stand by her. At least me, I do. Um, and again, just we need to be a little bit more empathetic, and we need to be a little bit more kind. I think a lot of kindness and respect, and just being able to be understanding has been lost throughout the past few years, I believe. And we got to go back to that as a human race. I think in general, it is despicable the level of bullying that it could be, if you are different, if you act different, speak different, look different. You know, I've suffered it myself, so I can certainly tell you that it's there. And what I like to do is just smile. That's why I smile a lot, and I look at what I have around me. And my family, and my beautiful family, and the supporting, you know my friends, and who I have around me. And when I look at that, I forget about all the keyboarding warriors all over the internet that expect me to answer them half the time. I stand with you, Barbara Banda. Cut out the noise. uh, Come back swinging. Come back scoring goals. I know you will. I think you have the full support of the whole entire city. And yeah, we just keep moving forward. One thing is to be a fucking, sorry, I just f bombed it, but I feel so passionate. One thing is to be an effing troll. But we live in an era in which we have to have really thick skin. But I feel this goes beyond that. So you have our full support here. We're going to cover you. We're proud of covering you. We are proud of how many smiles you brought into the whole entire Pride fan base. And, we wish to have you for many years. And so, I am delighted to say I'm living a dream every time I cover a team like the Pride, because I am standing and I'm looking at talent like Marta, Haley McCutcheon, and now Barbara Banda. I never thought I was going to see the day or the time that I was going to see talent like that, high level talent, beautiful people like Julie Doyle, Corey Dyke, Carson Pickett, kind and a tight group that this Pride organization has created, and have come so far. And so, especially what I hate the most is that the noise comes in at a time that the players need to be the most concentrated into playing and in the sport and what's coming in the playoffs. And people are different. Some people may react in a way that it affects them tremendously and gives them anxiety, or they feel afraid or scared or upset. And there's some people that feels them. you know I hope, on a personal note, this fuels the team to come out swinging on Friday, to go and chase eh, that trophy again, and prove everybody wrong again. The Pride is here to stay. The team's called the Orlando Pride, and they're gonna get two back-to-back trophies. You know, and I also want to commend all Orlando City fans, all Orlando City B fans, all the fandom in Kissimmee that are coming to Kissimmee with their asados and their, to come to Inter&Co on Friday. Come and support Orlando Pride. Pack the stadium. They're going to need your support. They're going to need you to be in the stands. They're going to need to be shouting. And trust me, all I've heard from people coming first time to see this team, they come out and say, hey, this team is a little bit more fun than Orlando City. Hey, we get to see Marta, we get to see we get to see Julie Doyle and Corey Dyke, you know, and Jackson and all these phenomenal athletes that are definitely putting a good name for women's sports here in Central Florida. So my solidarity with Barbara Banda, with Tama Chawinga, all shills over there, we talked about her, with Kunda Jandi, and also to Priska Chalufia. And with that, I do want to ask, and I want to add a little bit of that. Um, Obviously, here at the pod, when Priska was here, obviously, you know, we have to analyze the game and we have to say like it is. And sometimes we're gonna pinpoint good and bad, but we based our analysis on the game. We never based our analysis on anything else but the game. We I think I can speak also for John. We don't focus on pinpointing and pointing fingers and being really nasty and negative and talking trash about the athlete. We tried, and we don't want to get to that level. That is, I never stand for that. Even for City, I could say, we always want to be respectful. And if Priska's watching, I also want to say, hey, we support you. Um, I know that it probably didn't work out with the Pride, and yeah, it didn't work out, but again, you're a human being, and I know that you've watched our content before, and we appreciate you, and we will never want you to feel that just because you missed a couple of shots, you're a terrible person. No, I think you're a phenomenal athlete. You make a living out of playing a sport that you love, and you should be able to do that anywhere you go. So again, you know, some of the analysis that we might have said about Priska, if it was harsh, Priska, I want to apologize. I didn't mean it that way in any shape or form. But again, it is what it is. But after everything I read today, man, I had like a really bad taste in my mouth for everything that I've read. So I'm a little bit kind of contained, and I'm kind of letting it all out right now. So my apologies if I'm a little bit repetitive, but the bottom line is, um, Orlando Pride is contributing to the growth of the sport in Central Florida tremendously. They're making a really great change in the community. Let's keep it up. Let's keep building bridges between Orlando City and Orlando Pride. We stand by you, Barbara Banda. We support you, and cut the noise, because you're going to come back better than ever next season. And to Priska and all the other players that were mentioned in several pieces that I've been reading, we stand by you. I think the players union have spoken. A lot of general managers and have spoken of several teams, and I think we should leave it with that. We should leave with that, and us as an outlet, we're going to do our very best to cover the team and to support our athletes here. So, and that goes for City, and that goes also for Pride and for OCB. So thank you, Barbara Banda. And with that, I end that, and we're going to read your comments real quick, and then we'll dive into the Orlando Seattle match that just happened, 1-1 draw. Let's read some comments. Any word on Watt's availability? Derek Parker 8995. Unfortunately, no, Derek. There's no word yet on Watt's availability. But let's dive into that, because I think it's important to discuss what happened against the Seattle Reign right here. So this was the starting lineup. I like this lineup. I thought it worked. I do want to say, I like Corey Dyke and Carrie Abella. I love to see them back again in the starting lineup, be honest with you. Not to say that Oyane is a bad pick. It's just that it was our cornerstone of our last year's team. And I like that. I think Oyane is kind of like in, like Goku in the hyperbolic time chamber, just kind of charging energy and trying to get, back into rhythm. We may see her hopefully in the next game, in the game on Friday. But so far, I believe Carrie Bell and Corey Dyke spot on. Angelina, Ali Limos, and Haley McCutcheon. To me, one of the cornerstones and pillars in this team this season is being Haley McCutcheon. She's a must start in every game. She should be one of the captains of the team for sure. And I think Ali in this game had a really good game as well. Marta, I love Marta and Jackie Ovalle on the wings. I thought Jackie is becoming more kind of in tune with the attacking third. I think Seb is giving her obviously a lot of more minutes, and it's showing. Marta as well. I mean, what can I say about Marta? She's just exciting to watch, right? And then up as your number 9, it will be Julie Doyle, number 20. Going back to the front. So far, I felt like this was a pretty competitive starting 11. Obviously, when it comes to Seattle had a team also that it was important when it comes to Sam Mesa. She had a pretty good game as well. A top um, prospect and player in the league. Jordan Bug had a really great game. I think Jordan Bug she's a really good um, defender. I was very impressed. Phoebe McLernan, she was very physical, disruptive, but really with no direction. It kind of reminded me of Phoebe playing in the Pride. Not the best game for me. Me Official, obviously, but I think the Pride did really well against Me Official. And then Jess Fishlock up there. And Claudia Dickey also had a pretty good game as well. Says, Shinta, I want Dyke starting over Oyane. I think she looked great. I think she looked fantastic. So let's just kind of talk a little bit about, a little bit of some of the notes I took here while I was in the, watching the game. I had a family situation I had to take care of, unfortunately, for this game. I wasn't able to attend. I want to give kudos to my good pal, Lucas Camarini. He is our photographer, and he took phenomenal pictures. Some of the players actually share those pictures on their social media. So kudos to you, Lucas. Parabéns, Mayor Mao. Thank you, my friend and my brother. So, I mean, he did a tremendous job. So, look, the first half, in my opinion, it was a little bit cagey. It was a scoreless stalemate. The Pride controlled like over 60% possession. I mean, at least for me, I would say 55, between 55 and 60. But it again, it struggled to convert chances because has also a really good back line. I know Phoebe's a little bit slow, but I mean, she's very well positioned. Orlando's best opportunities, in my opinion, came a little early. Obviously, in the 7th minute, Raffaele curled a long ball towards Marta, and then she finished it clinically, but it was ruled offside by a whisker. Literally, it was a whisker. Now, a lot of people are saying that the Pride got robbed and this was a robbery. I mean, unfortunately, she was offside. They do have VAR. This was reviewed. And so, then 3 minutes later, you had Marta again. She had a phenomenal game, in my opinion. She cut an inside shot from the left, and then Claudia Dickey, which is one of the top keepers in the league, did great. Then Haley McCutcheon had a shot that went wide in the 14th minute, and then Raffaele headed one over from a corner in the 27th minute. So that's right there, 4 or 5 chances, clear chances for the Pride right there and then. So, I mean, the Pride was onto something, and they kind of created those chances. It was either Claudia Dickey being really good or just missing those chances. Um, In the 33rd minute, I think Angelina also had a shot from distance that kind of it wasn't really that well. I think it went too wide in my opinion. And then Jess Fishlock had I think a shot in the first half. And then I think she was offside, so they called the flag on there. And then Maddie Mercado had one also. So the Pride had about 6, 7 chances. Seattle in the first half had maybe about 3 or 4. So it was very even Stevens. You know, and then I felt in the second half, Seattle tried to control most of the game. I felt like Sam Mesa started, shooting the ball from the long range. Anna Morehouse was, doing some diving saves. And then the Pride continued to push forward. And again, another disallowed, offside for Angelina, after a Marta cross, and then it was a Seattle free kick. So, then the change came. And when I say the change for the best. And this is a player that it's her year. And I think no pundit in the NWSL or in the world, but in general, had this written down, Carson Pickett. And let's talk about Carson Pickett because Carson Pickett, man, she's having a phenomenal year. Carson Pickett is having a phenomenal year. Um, she is being so great for the Pride, and she's had her best season offensively in her whole career. So this is her best season yet when it comes to goal and assist contributions in the NWSL. So she has three goals, and across all competitions she has 4, 2 assists, right? But she's coming clutch. I mean, you're talking about she's changing the pace. Now, she's also makes herself very well positioned. And obviously, with a winger like you have on the left, you have Marta, which has a beautiful, she could shoot with both feet essentially, and then you have on your right, you have Jacqueline Ovalle with a sweet right, cross, and she's right there well positioned, and no one decides. I think this was a mistake from Phoebe McClernand. Um, Phoebe was just looking up. She didn't know that this was going to be, like she just let the ball pass, thinking that no one was going to be there, and there was Carson Pickett, and I mean, the Ovalle assist was just superb. I mean, it shows that she's world class. But I'm just happy to say that Carson Pickett is coming clutch, and she's gonna. Yeah, I think it works, and we need to continue this. This needs to be something that we repeat when it comes the game on Friday, 100%, and we'll discuss it in just a second. Let's read some comments real quick. It says, of all sad words, 3207, McClernand still had a hazard to everyone around her. Yeah, she didn't look very happy. Yeah, but also she didn't really have a good night, in my opinion. Shinta, the camera angle they gave us, was crap on the Marta offside. It has to be an Inter&Co studio issue, Inter&Co issue. We never get quality replays on offside calls. Yeah, I did see it, and I reviewed it myself. It looked slightly offside. Again, that's just my opinion. I'm not trying to dismiss your opinion. I think is well taken, and yeah, you're probably right. And that's something for the owners to take a look at and to really push the league to provide better. To do better for sure, because um, if they would have disallowed a goal right there during playoffs, it would have been a different story, 100%. So this was just the end of the regular season. So Now, when it comes to Seb Hines, I think um, you know tactically, Seb Hines, pragmatic. He's a young coach building on last year's championship blueprint, and he was facing Laura Harvey, ex Arsenal boss. That she leverages a lot of data and also AI. Hines deployed a 4-2-3-1 formation, and I felt tactically he emphasized just being very patient with the ball, um, and to escape the press via switching and putting their fullbacks very high and overlapping the wingers. So what I mean is, you'll see, for example, you know, um, Corey Dyke going all the way down and then kind of Ovalle kind of retreating a little bit when she goes full forward, right? So um, hitting them with crosses also, right? Now, I think the Ovalle, Ali Limos, and Marta trio was really good. I think Limos had a pretty good game. I think Angelina and Haley McCutcheon really also had I think McCutcheon had a really good game as well. 37 chances were created by Marta in this game. So no, not in this game, in the whole entire league so far. So Marta right now is the league leading chances created champion via dribbles, and unfortunately she couldn't find Julie Doyle, and again, even if you would have had Ali Watt there, or I think it would have been kind of more of like a similar story. Orlando's goals are coming from the wings. We need that. That's where we're missing kind of Barbara, because Barbara will be that person that will finish the play, right? And that's why she scored over 13 goals, last season. So, um, then Hines subbed Summer Yates for McCutcheon. She's had to go a little forward. And again, I think some of the changes worked. Again, we have a really short, um, squad at the moment. I felt like we still need to have maybe more depth probably for next season. That's just my opinion. But on the other end, you have Laura Harvey with a 5-3-2. Uh, I don't know if it's because of AI. I don't know if she just typed it in AI and said, "Hey, how does the Pride? How can I beat the Pride?" But I think Fishlock Mesa and McCammon was the actual midfield, and they prioritize kind of having more height than most of the mid of Orlando, and kind of recycling their possession. Um, Now, Huitema came in the second half for them, Mercado, and it added their set piece kind of threat. And I think the equalizer kind of stemmed from a kind of like a corner recycle, and kind of exploiting Orlando Orlando's box, and their defense just being bad positioned. And we'll watch in just a second. But yeah, I think Hines' possession game kind of worked a little better. I think Orlando had the chances to probably get this win, especially in the first half, how many chances they created. And I think Seattle, in the end, was, a little frustrated, but they saw also a way to have a little bit of a defensive solid, a defensive compactness and being very solid collectively to make Orlando's life a living hell to score on them. So good for Seattle, but it's gonna be a head-to-head battle coming up on Friday. So it's do or die. for the Pride. So we're about 35 people live. Thank you for your support. Let's read some comments here. Shinta says, I like the tie over the win. I think we match up against Seattle better than San Diego. Yeah, it has been a team that has been tough for us to defeat because of the quality that they have, and they're very very similar teams. Now I do feel that Orlando has a little bit of an edge because they have a little bit more quality in the attacking third, even without Banda. And they have a center back like Emily Sams and Carrie Abello. I mean, these are top UN's women's national team prospects. So, but now did Laura Harvey, the controversy, and the reason why I say AI is because, Laura Harvey, the coach of Seattle, admitted to use ChatGPT during the offseason to brainstorm tactics and formations for multiple matches, which kind of sparked some debate in the NWSL community because Harvey has always been a data-driven tactician, and so she kind of casually quizzed the AI on setup ideas for specific opponents, and I mean, she just got clobbered online. I mean, fans and pundits roasted her, cooked her, calling it embarrassing, a fireable offense. You know, so she was just saying, "I was just testing his women's soccer knowledge. It sparked ideas we refined." Is what she said. So it's tremendous. Now, would have did she use ChatGPT on her downtime to kind of check out Orlando? Probably, but I mean, ChatGPT is going to throw an old formation more than likely with Barbara Banda because if you put it on AI right now, anything about Orlando Pride is going to mention Barbara Banda. So I really don't think so. I think she misspoke. I have mad respect for you know uh, Laura Harvey. I mean, I'm a Chelsea fan. I'm a Chelsea fan. I was I grew up not liking Arsenal, but I have respect for Laura Harvey, and I think she misspoke. Obviously we live in an era in which you say something, or you speak your mind, or you want to be yourself, and then you get freaking clever with a hammer everywhere you go. So, and again, when you see them face to face, right? This is what happens to me all the time. It has happened to me when I cover City. So when I cover City, and back in the day, I used to respond to BS online, like Lewis, blah blah blah, and I would respond back, and it began to a point that I just didn't respond no more. And the funny part is when you will see them face to face, right? They'll like walk. They don't look at you. They act like if they didn't do anything because 99% of most bullies online are keyboard warriors. They don't want to face you. And if you face them and you tell them, "Hey, man, so you had some words to say about me? You want to tell me in my face? Oh, he's being confrontational, man. He's being violent, man. So they're gonna act like victims, right? And it is like that. So I think, well, Laura Harvey, yeah, it's funny. I think it's a little funny that she's using ChatGPT, but I think she's a great coach. I'm mad respect for Laura Harvey. So it's gonna be a really big test for the Pride. Facing pretty much the same team twice, it is pretty 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 top notch because Laura Harvey's gonna come out swinging with the tactics and a lot of the hooplas she implied in Arsenal and instilled in Arsenal system. She's a very good tactician, and then Seb Hines has shown also that if they want to really win and go for another trophy, this is the game that they got to put all the marbles in. and we'll discuss how the NWSL is going to look like if Orlando goes through, who we could face, what are kind of my choices. So we'll discuss in just a second. Let's read some comments. It says, we were definitely yelling all the chat GPT jokes we could think of as of all sad words. We were the first match she used the 5 back on. They lost 1-0 that match, says Shinta0013. Thank you, Shinta. Appreciate you. Yeah, so good game. Good for the Pride. Happy for that. And now let's talk about how can let's look first at the how the playoffs are going to look like. And let me see if I can find the picture. I think it should be on. Let me see if I can find it here. I think it's on. Oh, I don't have it here. That's great. NWSL has to be an NWSL. Yeah, right here. There you go. So let's look at this real quick. And while you're at it, drop us your comments and your thumbs up. Right here. So Orlando Pride, 4th seeded. And again, in the post press conference, people were saying, oh, you were 3rd, now you dropped to 4th. But in a way, I would have rather, to be honest with you, face Seattle Reign, be honest with you. And I think that's one of the reasons why, personally, when I can only talk for myself. I asked Seb and Carson pretty generic questions based on their performances of that particular game. I didn't really want to talk about, hey, you dropped 2 points, because it's just kind of put more salt in that wound, and I think we're better off, to be honest with you. So if the Orlando Pride goes through, the the scenario that's happening on the other game coming up, which is New York against Kansas City, over 90% of WOSO fans are going to probably want KC to win. I think that if I'm Orlando, I would like to face Gotham. I would like to. I understand the thrill of facing KC, but do I think the Pride has it right now to maybe win against KC? I really don't know. They're going to need to be a little bit more effective because chance creation ain't going to cut it. That's just my opinion. I have a feeling, based on what I've seen New York play in preseason, and I think Orlando can give a run for their buck to New York, to Gotham. I 100%. I mean, I saw Gotham in preseason almost choking against USL Super League team. And I think that's to me, that'll be the preferred scenario. In the end, we're going to have Racing Louisville against Washington Spirit, which Taylor Flint, she's being talked about a lot for midfielder of the year. That's what I've been told. I think Haley McCutcheon is best midfielder, in my opinion. Against the Spirit. Portland, they just re-signed Moultrie, which is a tremendous, tremendous athlete. Portland's resurgence. I think the best scenario for the Orlando Pride, and I'm just, it's my opinion again, is, and it's a little bit far-fetched because I think it's going to be, New York, KC is probably I think New York has one of the leading goal scorers in the league with Esther. Esther versus Tema Chewinga, right? And then you have the Orlando Pride going with the Rain, and then I believe on the other side, maybe I don't know if Racing Louisville is going to be able to stun the Spirit, but we'll see. If Racing Louisville stuns the Spirit and eliminates them, that's going to be talked about, and that's going to be talked about for a long time, and some heads are going to roll in the Spirit for sure. But I think the Spirit is probably going to go through. And then on the other side, I personally would like Portland to win. I just think Portland, it's a more of like it's a team that I kind of like in a way. They're very, I love their community, and I think Olivia Moultrie is a tremendous athlete. They have a lot of good quality, and they're a very historic team for the league. And I think San Diego, they're doing the right thing. Then they'll get there eventually, But you have to give it to San Diego. They invested a lot in the men's team in San Diego, in the San Diego team in the MLS, and now with the San Diego team, the women's with the Waves is also the same thing. They're getting pretty far, both of them. So good for San Diego. They have good soccer, and yeah. So I would love to see New York, the Pride. So New York facing Orlando. Um, I would love to see this. I mean, I think it's probably going to be the Spirit against Portland, and we could be seeing hopefully, knock on wood, a Pride Spirit rematch or a Pride Portland rematch. You know, I would love that. And you imagine winning another trophy without Banda? That's gonna be fun. That's gonna be huge. I mean, a lot of people are already saying, "Oh no, Seattle's gonna win," or they're saying, "Oh, Orlando's only gonna reach the semis and that's it." You know, people are already counting Orlando out. Don't sleep in don't sleep on Orlando, guys. Let's read some comments. This is here. Shinta, hopefully Seattle doesn't Alex Morgan and gets kicked out of Disney. We win and Gotham wins. We host a semi also. I know, that's what I'm saying. I want Gotham to, bro. I'll be honest with you. I don't hate KC. I think what they're doing for women's sports is huge. So I'm not gonna discredit what KC's doing. But it's kind of like Inter Miami in the men's. They got the commissioner eating from their hand, you know what I mean? And they're like kind of like the darlings of the league. And it will be crazy to think that they're not going to win against Gotham. Now Gotham also has a firepower, Rose Lavelle. They have a lot of good quality, a lot of good quality. So I will love New York for sure. Another home game. Rather beat KC, but wouldn't mind a semi-host. I wouldn't mind. I want a semi-host. Bro, you imagine a semi-host? That'd be amazing. This Portland PR team is terrible. Totally teased. That was a Wilson re-signing. Says, there you go. Thank you, Shinta. Appreciate you. Now, if Orlando goes through to the final, and I know I'm getting a little bit too ahead, we're gonna be facing, I don't know, either it's definitely. I mean, the final is gonna be in the Bay Area. And again, I want to say to the commissioner, if she will ever watch this show, I probably don't think she will, but please, commissioner, don't do it. Don't do it in a neutral site. It is a Don't do it in a neutral site. You're no boosting no economy doing it in the Bay Area. With all due respect, it's a pain in the behind logistically to go all the way to the Bay Area. It would have been just, hey, if you're the Spirit, you can just run it all the way to the final, right? Or you look for a neutral site within the East Coast if it's two East Coast teams, don't make you know how much tickets are to go to the West? Like it's expensive, dude. It's expensive, And I know people are gonna do whatever it takes for their team, and kudos to you, But it is expensive. Like it's you have to request, put PTO for work, or possibly like call out, say that you have a toothache or a bellyache or a headache or whatever, or the runs, and then you have to if you're gonna fly Spirit, you have to get one of those trick bags that you have to put on that hole so you don't pay for a bag, right? Because they try to jip you. I had to fly Spirit before Southwest. It was terrible, but either way, it would be cool if it's two West Coast teams, do it in the West Coast. If it's two East Coast teams, do it in the East Coast. Like it's too far. But then again, again, I'm just some guy talking in a microphone, right? So can't wait for cross country flights during the government shut. That's right. That is right. You know, people don't. This government shutdown is affecting a lot of people, and it's coming at really worst of times because it's the holidays, and you don't want to do that to people. You just don't want to do it to people. That is very insensitive. People got a lot of things to. Myself, the days I spend the most during the whole entire year, so y'all know. I know it's TMI. It's October, November, December. Yep. So, yep. So it is what it is. But look, the Pride depends on themselves. And the Pride are the 2024 NWSL champs, Shield champs. So don't count them out. I understand we're not hot right now. I understand for a lot of people, a lot of the pundits, but don't count us out. I commend the team to have this stuff fuel you to go to the promised land and deliver another trophy and literally F you everybody. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna be a F you fest because no one had the pride of winning back-to-back championships. And if they deliver that to the city of Orlando, it's gonna be huge. It's gonna be huge. And I think the Wolves may wanna, they're probably gonna want to invest more on the pride even more than what they already do now, and it's going to put a huge pressure on Orlando City to start delivering fast. So go pride, Now, when it comes to um, how is it going to be or how's it going to look like? Um, let's go to, I'm going to go to FOTMob here and I'm going to go and we're going to do a lineup real quick and we're going to read your comments. So a lineup builder. Hold on. There you go. So let me go to Orlando Pride here. There you go. So I'm gonna go to, I don't know if people are looking. Yep. There you go. 35 people. Thank you so much for your support. Appreciate you. This is Loud and Proud Orlando, the Pride Pod. Make sure you subscribe and drop us a thumbs up. I like this back four. If Oyana is available, I think we should put her in. If she's still kind of recovering, I feel confident with Corey Dyke. I think she did great. I think this back four is here to stay. Now I will go to Angelina and McCutcheon. Right here like this. Angelina like that. McCutcheon, Angelina Lemos. Ovalle, Marta, and then now Julie Doyle. Now, for me personally, I want to I want to disrupt their midfield. And this is a very an unpopular sentiment, but I'm going to state why I would do it. These three in the middle are going to be my disruptors, and they're going to recover the ball and drive it forward. For these three to interchange positions all the time. So, what I'm trying to say is instead of Limos, I will put her in the second half. I'll put Luana. And people say, well, Lewis, like, why would you put Luana? I will put Luana because Luana is that energizer bunny, just like McCutcheon. They're full of energy, full of grit. They don't let no ball like, you know, they're tough. And so what's going to happen is you're going to make these three rotate as they go forward. So you could end up with Angelina right here and Luana as a double pivot formation with McCutcheon right here like this. So let's say Seattle is let's say Seattle is forward. Luana can go. They can go into a double pivot formation, and that will kind of give you. You still have a four in. Oh crap! You still have four in the back, but you now have two really good recovery. Players that recover the ball really well and drive it forward, and then you'll have these three with full freedom. So you can have Marta coming on the counter in the middle. You can have Angelina on the left. You can have Angelina also back defending here. You can have Obaye on the left, Marta on the right, and it's kind of more a little bit of more playing with unpredictability and kind of their backline. They're gonna see so much change. It's gonna throw them off at some point, because they're not, it's gonna throw them off. And we've seen with Phoebe McClernand, she couldn't even see Carson Pickett that was literally on her left. Like as a defender, you have to look at where you're positioning yourself, and she struggled the whole night. Uh, this is probably a good strategic change, in my opinion, to have Luana there. And then in the second half, you take Luana out or Angelina out, and you put Limos, right? I would say probably Luana, but I like that. I like that a little better. That would be my idea. Now, when it comes to Julie Doyle, I would like to see. Um, it wasn't the best game for Simone Jackson when she came in. Um, and that's okay. She's not gonna have a perfect game. I felt like she was a little sloppy with the ball. I would like to give chance to Simone Charlie. I think she'll be great and see how that works. If Ali Watt's ready to go, I'll put Ali Watt on here for sure. But if not, maybe Simone Charlie. But I don't think Julie Dole did a lot. Did that horrible either. It's just that there wasn't really a lot of chances. Now, another thing that we need to see is in the second half, for sure, you're gonna want to make your Carson Pickett substitution. And again, if Orlando is a team that's able to take advantage of some of the chances, set pieces are going to be huge. And I think they got to practice the set piece 100%. Now, if you look here, um, um, I would put, Ali Watt right here. It's available. Simone Jackson, but I don't think she did very hot. So I will go for Simone, Charlie, or Julie Doyle. So, and we can definitely keep Doyle right there. Let's see. What's your opinion? Drop us a thumbs up or a comment, and we'll respond to you. But this will be my lineup for this game coming up. And another thing is, Seattle is not gonna have Luana. They're gonna already assume that she's gonna be a rotational player. And that's one thing that's gonna throw them off. And because Luana is gonna go forward, and then you have the kind of like the Brazilian connection right here, and then they could rotate. as the game goes, they can change. The mid could change. The flanks could change. You know, and that's gonna drive him insane. Like they could end up in a double pivot formation with Luana and Haley McCutcheon as your D mids and Angelina as your 10. They could end up with Angelina as a um, left midfielder or a right midfielder and Luana on the left, and they can switch. So it gives you a little bit more freedom to be creative, and I think that's what the Pride needs: creativity. And again, practice with Julie Doyle. I think practicing Marta Ovalle, Julie Doyle crosses, headers. I think that's going to make the partnership even more solid. So this will be my lineup. It will be Morehouse on the sticks. We have also Corey Dyke, Emily Sams, Raffaele, Cariavello as your back four. Haley McCutcheon, Angelina, and Luana. It will be my mid. Marta and Ovalle, and then right up top it will be Julie Doyle. So that would be my kind of like my 2 cents on this particular lineup. Now, this is going to be a really tough game. Again, this is going to be a game in which, you know, it's a do or die. And again, it's a single elimination quarterfinal knockout. The winner advances to the two-legged semifinals. The loser goes home. Kickoff is at 8 p.m. It's going to be on Prime Video. I, again, command every single Orlando City, Orlando OCB. I've seen people going to OCB games. Come support the Pride. They need you. They need everybody. The atmosphere of a playoff has to be wild, has to be good. Last game, it was about 8,000 people. Let's pack it up. Let's get 15, 16,000. I think it's possible. We can double it up. You know, uh, Seattle's coming with a lot of road resilience. You know, um, but I think Orlando is going to be playing at home. Orlando right now is, to me, the slight favorites. I think because they're playing at home, and I think Hines last year showed that he has playoff pedigree. And again, Marta is going to be huge. I think the mid's going to win this game. Um, I would love to see Luana. I think if the players see Luana killing it, it's going to motivate them even more to go forward. And again, guys, and I'm talking to the players, all these noise happening, messing with some of the players in the team, use it as fuel to kill Seattle and prove everybody wrong. All the pundits, all the people that don't believe, keep proving them wrong. I think this is a team that has like overcome a lot of odds, and they're making a lot of they're making a lot. They're having a lot of success. I think in the past, including this season, that they're probably having looked very hot because of Banda's injury. Unfortunately, they still qualified to playoffs. They still did it almost to be a top three in the East. So good for them. Keep it going, and I have a feeling that this is going to be a magical night. So my hats off to you guys, 100%. Let's read some comments real quick. It says, "Can't wait for cross-country flights during the government shutdown of all side words. Thank you for your support." Again, we wish them the best. We wish you the best. I think it's going to be a phenomenal game. We're going to be coming back next week. I'm probably going to be going to the game. I'm going to be replying to the club tomorrow. I'm going to have to probably leave from from here to all the I-4 traffic. Hopefully I make it in time. But again, I wanted to thank you all for your support. Whether this is the end of the road for this 2025 season, And whether is success, number one, stay humble. Number two, don't let it get into your head. Remember all the old bad times that the Pride had to endure. I think the Pride, if it's the end of the road, don't get discouraged. Keep supporting this team. They have a great front office. They're doing a lot of good changes. They have an ownership group that's not afraid of investing in top quality players. They have a great coach. They have a great group of human beings running the team. So, if you've lived the dark times of the Pride, like I have, I think we're in Disneyland right now. And you know what I mean. I think there's a culture being built, and that culture needs to continue flourishing. And whether it's a win or lose, I feel like this team is heading to that direction of success. And so that's all on the ownership group, on the front office, on the players, on the coach. So good for them. So if it's a successful and it's a W and we go through, it's going to be fantastic to have another semis, hopefully against Gotham. And we've killed the bat before. I'm sure we can kill the bat again. And I would love to see a Bane Tifo, a purple Bane, killing the bat like in Batman, right? If you're a nerd like me and like comic books at old age, you can certainly do a huge purple Bane Tifo, right? I think it would be cool. And yeah, it's gonna be exciting. It's to be a Pride fan. It's exciting times. It's championship times. A lot of ups and downs this season. But even if there's ups and downs, and even if we head into a postseason, let's say, Ladder Pride Orlando will continue covering women's sports. I want to announce today that I will be personally with Lucas, our photographer. We're going to be at the UN's women's national team game against Italy. We're going to be against in that game. We're going to be covering the women's. Also, the USL Super League, Tampa Bay Sun. We're going to be covering that in the off season as well. Also, we're going to be any major news are happening, signings. The Pride Pod will continue putting out content. We ain't stopping. Just like the men, we ain't stopping. So I wanted to thank you for your support and also for sticking with us this past 2 years. It's tremendous, and we're growing. And I do also want to add one more thing before I go. We are looking for somebody passionate, somebody that loves women's sports, somebody that maybe would like to be here in the LPO sphere with us, covering the Orlando Pride. If you are interested in maybe covering some games as well, for next season, and you want to write on our website, you want to come and be part of the LPO of our LPO podcast and do the Pride Pod with us, we would love to talk to you. So you can find us on social media and you can send us a DM. We are going to be available on X at LP_podcast. You can send us a DM there. On Instagram, you can look at us as Loud and Proud Orlando or LP_podcast. Facebook as well. YouTube. If you're interested in being part of LPO to cover the Orlando Pride next season as well with me, give me a holler, and we'll connect. And yeah, we will love passionate people that are willing to truly speak highly of this organization and put it forth and that have the time to go to most of the games. I think this season I missed a couple of games due to, obviously, I live a little far, but mainly also because I'm a dad, so I got to do my duties, right? So sometimes a little complicated, but I've made it work tremendously for already over four or five seasons. So we're looking for also somebody else that can come and contribute on the dialogue in the live show, and also to cover Orlando Pride as well with me. Part time. If you're interested and you have journalistic integrity, or you're just you would like to contribute, feel free to hit us up, and we would love to talk to you. And yeah, thank you for your time. Thank you for your support. I mean, each episode, the Pride Pod grows, and we can only be nothing but thankful. Make sure that you support us by subscribing to our channel. Click the notification bell for all notifications. We are hitting already um, really big marks on our YouTube channel. We are right now close to, I believe, 1,685 subscribers. So that's fantastic. I remember we started this channel with like not even 10 subscribers. So, you know, tremendous growth. And that's all possible because of you. And, we're going to do our best to continue providing the best content possible for the City Beautiful and for all things Orlando City and Orlando Pride and OCB, and also USL Super League. So, and US Women's National Team and Men's National Team. I'm excited for the World Cup is in Brazil. I will love to go. Um, and yeah, I've been thinking about, hey, what if I go to Brazil a little bit, practice my Portuguese? Oh, follow Portuguese. We'll love that. But either way, thank you for your support, guys. Appreciate you. We'll see you guys next week. And vamos, Pride. Take care, guys. Have a wonderful night. Appreciate you.